China is ready to retaliate after the United States threatens to impose new tariffs. What could this escalating trade conflict mean for the global economy? Hello, I'm Michael Walter, sitting in for Anna Naidu, and this is The Heat. U.S. President Donald Trump raises the stakes in the trade dispute with China. He threatens to slap additional tariffs on Chinese products if Beijing goes ahead with retaliatory measures. CGTN's Owen Fairclough explains.
Donald Trump's tariffs against China are rising faster than the scorching temperatures across much of the U.S. right now. First, a 25% tariff on $50 billion of Chinese imports, matched by China and due to take effect next month. Now Trump is threatening duties of 10% on an additional $200 billion worth of Chinese goods. If China retaliates, Trump promised tariffs on another $200 billion. He blames China for a widening trade deficit and alleged intellectual property theft. China denies this, accusing the U.S. of waging a trade war. Having launched a similar trade battle with Canada, Mexico and the European Union, Trump says he's out to protect U.S. jobs.
We're going to take care of our American farmers, and we're going to take care of our manufacturers and our manufacturing jobs.
And yet soybean farmers in the U.S. Midwest are worried about the impact of China's retaliatory tariffs on their exports. Former New York Mayor Michael Bloomberg thinks the longer-term effect will be harmful.
More jobs are created when you trade, and even if you don't believe that, if you don't keep trading, you're not going to have an economy.
And on the one dispute where Trump has tried to be conciliatory, his own Republican lawmakers are blocking him. He pledged to ease up on Chinese telecoms firm ZTE after U.S. suppliers were banned from trading with it. Congress voted to keep that ban in place.
And to get more context, we turn to Owen Fairclough in our newsroom. Owen, what has been the Chinese reaction to all of this?
Well, far from conciliatory, Mike, I can tell you. Donald Trump may say he's got a great relationship with President Xi Jinping, but the tone is certainly hardening in Beijing over these tariffs. Here's what the Foreign Ministry had to say about Donald Trump's latest proposals.
The comments from the U.S. side invert right and wrong and are a warrantless criticism of China. Its aim is to conceal its unilateral protectionist methods. Recently, the U.S. ignored the agreement that the two sides had reached. Again and again, the U.S. has been provoking a trade war. This method leads to the loss of people's trust and harms the interests of people and enterprises from both China and the U.S. and harms the interests of the people of the entire world.
Well, the fact is, Mike, this is harmful to both sides, ultimately. It was interesting to hear from one of Donald Trump's trade advisors saying that China stands to lose a lot more in this than the United States. And that's true on a macroeconomic level. China really hasn't got that much further to go in the amount of goods that it can slap tariffs off, simply because it doesn't export as much to the U.S. as the U.S. It doesn't import as many U.S. goods as it exports to them. So it's only really got so much mileage in all of this. And this is why the U.S. is confident that it can keep squeezing China, because of the amount that it buys from China. And yet, if you talk to farmers in the rural Midwest, I've been to Iowa, many of them have been investing lots of time and lots of money in moving their trade relationship to China so they can export goods like soybeans and other farm produce as well. Try telling them that they don't stand to lose too much in all of this, because they certainly do. And many people in the Midwest, certainly soybean farmers, are already getting very, very nervous right now about exactly where this trade conflict is going. There are companies around the world as well over the last 24 hours that have lost significant market value simply because they're starting to sit up and take notice of these numbers and worrying that they're going to get caught up in the fallout of this battle should it escalate even more. The real worry right now is that these two sides simply really don't want to talk to each other. Mike.
Owen, thanks so much.